Hi there and welcome back, where today we're going to be talking about Influencer, the new song and video that just came out by Band-Maid, because of course we are. What else would we talk about right after a new Band-Maid song and video just came out? And the interesting thing is I know after a new Band-Maid song comes out, there's loads of people rushing to YouTube to say how it's the greatest thing ever. And on this channel, we're always honest. We always say our genuine opinions, as much as, you know, I've seen Band-Maid live, I love the group, we've covered all their songs, we're always honest here. So it makes it a little bit weird for me that, as cliche as it is, I have to admit, this is one of the best songs I've heard by Band-Maid in quite a while, and I feel like I'm getting justification to say that more and more recently. Like, it really is highlighting that their work is taking some really interesting and impressive steps. As much as I love the old stuff, I'm really loving seeing where they're going. So as a result, to break down what is so great about this song, and there's a lot to unpack, we're going to go through it bit by bit, starting with basically the song structure. So structurally, this song fits a fairly normal, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus kind of arrangement, but it's in the details as usual that we get to see how this song really stands out. Now, the verses are just alive with detail. The first and second verse are not the same. They have little changes in the nuances and the way that the sounds layer up, which is another quintessentially Band-Maid thing to do. Yeah, I just feel that those verses are an interesting place to start from, because when describing the song, it's a song that has a lot of impact, but the verses start you off in this very tense place where there's a lot going on. The bass and the guitar sounds are all sort of mixing around each other. There's a lot of stuff going on with the beat. It deliberately stops you from feeling too settled in. It feels right on that border of, oh, is it too much? Is it kind of overflowing? But the sounds are just kind of working in a way that's meant to feel restless, so that when you burst into the chorus, you really burst into it just with a sort of sense of relief. Here we go, the big point that's sort of supposed to bring it together like a good chorus does. And this is a good chorus. Let's be very clear about it. This is one of the best choruses I've heard from Band-Maid in a while. I have said I never really considered Band-Maid to be hugely a chorus writing sort of band. They do have great choruses, but that's not like their ultimate strong suit. They're more of an arrangement writing band and a sort of musicianship band a lot of the time. But with this, we've got a chorus that I really think that's stuck in my head. And it's going to be stuck in a lot of people's heads. This is the sort of thing that could really get catchy on radio play. This is the sort of thing that I think will be very good for the band. It is a catchy chorus, and as you hear, everything simplifies underneath it. All the other instruments just go into more of a raw rocking state. The drums go just into that sort of thumping kick, 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 snare. You know, everything is just on the beat, and it's really so you can take in the full impact of that chorus. I also liked how a lot of the time Band-Maid's choruses, they tend to use a lot of similar scales. You can sometimes take little melody runs from certain ones and transpose them into other Band-Maid songs and say, okay, there are similar tricks they do in the melodies. That's quite normal. You hear that with a lot of bands. I was interested here though, because the whole melody of the chorus felt, to me at least, I'm sure someone's going to think of a reference I haven't thought of, but it felt very different from any chorus melody I've heard in a Band-Maid song before. It kind of had a feeling where it was leaning towards, again, I got a sort of a bit of a Latin vibe there. And I loved how the chorus was broken into two sections, and you ended up on that final bit with the, was it Hunky Dory Day, I think she was saying? We'll get onto the lyrics in a minute. But it was this, that really got caught in your head, and that was just the second half of the chorus. There was a lot of really good things to get caught in your head and keep you coming back round. Now, that's before we even get round to talking to the bridge, and we do need to talk about the bridge. Now, I've said many times before that a bridge can make or break a song, and well, this just helps to make this song in my opinion. But it's not something that on paper I would normally say, yeah, that's exactly what I want to hear. I mean, first of all, Psyche doing rap? Well, actually, no, I would want to hear that, but it'd be something where I'd be thinking, is this going to work? And then on top of that, sorry for the lack of faith. And then on top of that as well, you know, more solos. As much as I do love a solo well done, solos are never usually the most creative thing to do in a bridge. But here, Band-Maid pull it off brilliantly. Let's start first of all with that rap bit. Yeah, obviously, as you'd expect from anyone who's not, you know, a career rapper doing sort of rap vocals, it was perfectly delivered. It was just something where it was short and concise, and she did it with the correct amount of attitude. I really loved how she kind of gave it a little bit of personality. You could see in her face, even the video, she just knew how to give it a little bit of edge, a bit of personality there. I like how the beat went a bit stripped back, and we also got that feeling of a little bit of production in the background as well. They weren't scared to do that and really lean into giving that those few bars of rap the sound of being something a little bit different, the sound of being something a little bit more hip-hop just for that little part. And then it bursts into the bass solo, and the bass solo was nicely done. It was punctuated by two little lines of vocals, which gave it a sort of a cool and answer feel, and also, well, it's a bass solo done by Misa. What more do we need to say? It was great, and you know, I love to hear a bass solo brought front and center because, you know, we don't get to hear enough bass solos. Yes, it's not an instrument you usually hear front and center, so when you do hear it and you hear it played well, it's an absolute joy. It's different, and you know, it does a great job of then launching you into the guitar solo. And as always, Konami, I keep on saying this, Konami to me is more of a songwriter than a guitarist, and that's not a detriment to her guitar playing skills. It's a compliment to her writing skills, and it comes through in the fact that her guitar solos, they're never self-indulgent. They're never overly just a case of, now it's about me and the solo. No, the guitar solo always feels like it has a purpose, and this one is that, taking you from the bass solo and then launching you into that final chorus. So yes, for me, this was a brilliant 3-part bridge that just brought out a lot of personality. It was in a lot of ways the most fundamental form of bridge, the one where you just basically give different members of the group a chance to highlight their skills, but rather than feeling like a self-indulgent twiddle, it felt like a journey where the vocals went down from the chorus through a rap section into a bass solo, build up through the guitar solo and shoot you into the chorus. It was a constructed journey made through effectively member solos. So yeah, that was a hell of a bridge. But hey, that's not all we got to talk about. I did mention about the lyrics, and lyrics is something we need to discuss because this song is about lyrics in a big way too. Now, after the rather profound lyrics of Unleash, this is a group who I feel are really on a roll of some rather interesting lyrical works. Not to say they didn't have them before, but I like some of the ideas that they're putting into the lyrics, and it's not something I would usually talk about much lyrics. But when they first announced the list of songs for the Unleash record, and there was a song on there called Influencer, I was wondering, is this going to be something where, like when I first saw the name YOLO on a set list of theirs, I was like, oh no, painfully cringe, and then the song ended up being really good, but I was like, I don't know about that title. And I was thinking, is Influencer going to be a bit cringe? But no, actually, it was a really well-used title because this was a rather interesting take, talking about influencer sort of styles and characteristics. Now, yes, it's not 2008 anymore. We've heard plenty of songs about this subject before. It's not particularly new or cutting edge, and yet it is still something of this generation. It's something that is still being explored, even if it's not an entirely new subject. And what I liked is the way that they really explored the subject by not being overly judgmental. There's hints of, you know, like me, and you know, if I win, someone else doesn't win, that idea of it being a competition, the idea of likes being an exchange for love, you know, when you follow someone, when you influence them, is that a form of love? There is a kind of sense of darkness to the image that's being portrayed of what an influencer lifestyle is, and obviously it's very much talking about that sort of Instagram lifestyle, the one where it's more a case of being famous for being famous rather than necessarily being someone who produces any particular product. But I think it's something that's totally understandable, even for someone who does like a little YouTube channel like me. You understand how you can get grabbed into that sort of whole feeling of needing to produce content, needing to be liked and this kind of thing. So I felt that it was nicely delivered because rather than trying to have some message, rather than trying to have some, well, we're going to wisely tell you what we think about the influencer lifestyle, instead Psyche kind of takes on the character. She sings as the character. She throws that little bit of attitude in. We talked about the rap section earlier. It's that little bit of, there's a little bit of, she delivers with the character of a slight pomp, a slight sort of egotistical swagger, which I really like. Again, you know, Psyche always comes across in reality as someone who's probably a little bit reserved for a lead singer, who's someone who's quite real and down to earth and has some passions that are Train Spotting. And then, you know, you see she's so good at just leaning into that character once she's got the armor of the maid dress on. And I felt that she did a really good job, as I say, of bringing that character to life and just the subtlety of her performance. And that's the thing. There is a subtlety to the way the message comes across. There is a purpose, but a subtlety. There is a message, but it is not sort of swung over and hit over your head with a sense of judgment or a sense of opinion or a sense of overacting. And, you know, again, just sort of occasionally making points, making nice little relevant points about what the lifestyle, the good and bad of the lifestyle, how it can consume a person, and how it sometimes is there to replace other things that probably would be normal feelings in your life. The feeling, like I say, of replacing love with likes. So I felt that this was something that could have gone into a very cringing cliche place, but instead actually delivered a genuinely interesting song that actually had me thinking. As I was reading and watching lyrics, I was like, yeah, it really makes you think. So that's what I liked. But anyway, whatever they talked about, I mean, I don't care if you was reading a shopping list. If any lyrics come up and they say hunky dory day ×3, they gotta get some credit for that. Now, just to wrap in all of the sort of commercial side of this all together, because there's 3 points I want to talk to on that side, but they're all fairly quick points. First of all, when it comes to the way this is produced and mixed, there's going to be some people who complain about anything that has compression, and yes, like any contemporary song, it does have a little bit of compression on it, but it's not too much. I felt that it was good use of stereo pan, good mixing, as seems to have been really indicative of stuff we've heard off the recent singles. I certainly felt the Sense EP and the things that we've been hearing recently have really demonstrated that there's a great attention being given to clear mix, clear use of EQ, sorry I can't speak, for the instruments. So this was a really full sounding song and I loved that. The video was one of those ones that, yeah, we've seen this from Band-Maid. They kind of have those 2 default videos that come up a lot, which is either us in an interesting place with cameras flying by us or us in a room with lots of bright lights and quick cuts. This was one of the ones, the former ones, with us in an interesting place with cameras flying by us. But again, you can't blame them. We know they're a band who are not working on a vast budget, and it still comes off as a very effective video, and I like the fact that it used a lot of it. It was well sort of balanced, it looked good, and especially considering how treated we were with the Unleashed video. Nothing wrong with them also managing to deliver a good one. The main thing is it functions as a video, it was good. Now, the other point is, so does this all make it a good single? Well, I would say that this is the sort of song where if people start hearing it in passing because of the chorus, it's gonna draw them in. And that's kind of how people listen to songs now. That's kind of how you get them, as TikTok clips and the sound that you notice when it's playing over the radio in the convenience store. That is more the case here in Japan. But you know, that's how people hear songs. They hear the chorus and then they go back to listen to the whole song. And I think that's important because listening to it straight from the beginning, this song comes in very full force. As I say, kind of a lot going on. It could be quite alienating for a first time listener. But I think just with the chorus being so catchy and just being so damn good, I think people are going to come back and give it a chance. So I really have high hopes for this. I hope it connects to people. I hope the chorus brings people in and then they manage to, if they're not used to this kind of complexity of music, then they manage to just sort of fall in love with it and it helps them develop their taste. Or if there's someone who, you know, maybe just likes rock music, they hear a catchy chorus and wow, there's a good song attached to it as well. So I think commercially this could be really good. I've said I think that despite a couple of slip-ups, not including Misa's name in one of the CD booklets, Pony Canyon have basically done a very good job. And so I really hope that they do a good job marketing this because, wow, yeah, just want to see more of Band-Maid succeeding. And this is a song that can certainly do it. So in conclusion, this is a mid-tempo song that kind of has all the energy and ferocity of a fast song. It has a lot of that complexity, throw everything out of the listener feel that was very prevalent on Unseen World. And I felt that some of the songs on Unseen World where they went more mid-tempo, like Chemical Reaction, they kind of sometimes let the complexity go a little bit. Here, I felt they just managed to marry that perfectly. You had the complexity where you needed it, you had the simplicity in the choruses, but that simplicity was countered by having a total earworm chorus. You had a bridge that took them in a different direction, managed to be a bit cheeky and do things that, you know, maybe you wouldn't always expect, like throwing in a bass solo after a psyche rap, but did it just fantastically with panache. The whole thing was delivered with panache. There was personality. Yeah, so we're always honest on this channel, and I don't want to just sit here gushing about a song and telling you this is amazing for the sake of it. But this was pretty amazing. I always try to find faults in songs, and I think the nearest thing I can find to a fault with this is that maybe the intro, it doesn't come in a very inviting way. It comes in a way that might alienate first-time listeners. But as I said, I don't think that's going to be a huge problem, because most first-time listeners are probably going to pick it up just by hearing the chorus in passing. And if you're already into this kind of music, you're just going to be dragged in by how interesting they are as musicians from the very first note of this song. I really hope this does well. I'm really excited to talk to you about the rest of the album, and that is what I'm going to be doing, by the way. Of course, as you know, today marks the release of the Unleashed record, and I will be reviewing it one track a day, hopefully, for the rest of this week. So please do tune in to check that out. And until I hopefully see you very soon in the chat, have a hunky-dory day, and for now, ciao, ciao.